Hey guys, welcome back to CryptoCai. It's been a couple of weeks since I've done an episode of Dojo Unchained. That's because I've been moving house in real life. But it's good to be back. Let's check out the CryptoCai Innovation and Blue Chip Index. Let's see any portfolio changes, the current allocations, and the performance. And also what's on my mind, any watch list items. So let's dive in today. So starting with the Blue Chip Index, currently holding Ren, Alpha, Sushi, Compound and Nexus Mutual. I believe previously we had Yearn Finance here as well, but I sold that position as it was underperforming. And at the time, I think Ren and Nexus Mutual had better technical setups and they were lower in market cap. Now, Ren is actually the largest position currently, so that clearly did very well performance-wise. It looks like Nexus Mutual has lagged behind, that hasn't performed as well, but overall, take an average of both, I think they both performed better than Yearn, so that was actually a good move. I'm pretty happy with the positions so far. Like, we've got 5 really strong blue chip positions here. I'm going to try just let the winners run. I think that's a big mistake by people that try to overtrade and over rebalance. I'm going to let the winners run here. No real desire to rebalance currently. And yeah, 5 core positions. Don't want to diversify so much. Really want to have conviction on the picks. Of course, I'm trading around, but I don't want to over diversify across 20 assets because then, if one of those assets does like, a 10 times or a 5 times in performance, well, if you're split across 20 assets, then, maybe you've only got 5% in that particular token, and then that 5 times is, well, it's pretty diluted, right? While in this case, a 20% position size roughly across all these assets, if one does really well, that has a significant impact on the performance. I've always thought, if you're really trying to grow a portfolio, then conviction in your picks is really important and not over diversifying. Whilst in comparison, if you have a really large portfolio, diversification across a bunch of assets is probably more beneficial to preserve that wealth, also while remaining exposed to the market. So that's a blue chip index in terms of portfolio. Let's check out the performance-wise of the blue chip index. Still really good. Obviously, the token itself started at $100. We peaked at about, let's have a look here. The 1 year high, $222. So, 2.2 times on return on investment since inception. And currently we're still hovering at $206. So that's still 2 times ROI. Really good, really happy with that. And we're currently just kind of consolidating right now around this sort of $200 mark. And you'll see when we look at the charts, this is in line with what all the blue chips are doing currently. We're basically at higher time frame resistance now after our big run up, and we're kind of consolidating below resistance, kind of coming to a bit of an inflection point whether to break up or break down. Also, I've had people ask me, what is my targets for the blue chip index? It's currently at 2 times. Where could I see it going if the market continues the current rally, if we resume the whole bull market in general, if Bitcoin, Ethereum reach all-time highs again? And the answer to that is you just don't know. The market will always extend further than you think, and at the same time, when it crashes, it will always plunge a little bit more than you're expecting. So you can never really predict what true sort of market euphoria will do to these assets in particular. They're super volatile. Nowhere as liquid as sort of legacy markets, so they can be pushed really high in a bit of a crazy sort of mania. But rough speculation targets, the blue chip index is $200 currently, and we haven't made all-time highs on the majors, and we're consolidating currently. My goals would be a 5 to 10 times on the blue chips, definitely. I would love to see this at $500 to $1,000 per blue chip index token. And if we ever reach that point, I'd probably take a lot of the portfolio assets and start selling off into stable coins to start securing that profit, right? Because at the end of the day, all these gains are on paper until you realize them. And that is, whether you cash out, go to stable coins, whatever, until you actually realize those gains from the assets, these things can plunge like we saw in May and like we saw in March 2020. They can plunge very, very hard, very, very fast, and all your gains disappear. So we're not going to make that mistake. So that's the blue chip index performance. Let's move on to the innovation index. Okay, so the innovation index is currently comprised of just index, which is the index cooperative. And there's a reason behind this, right? So index is my kind of number one undervalued pick in the space, especially in DeFi. And we also had a Rook, Bank and Combo in this portfolio, but they took, the market took a big shine to them, and they had a really good rally, while index stayed in its consolidation. So my thought process was basically, those assets were getting pretty heated. It had a ton of volume and upside. So what I did was, while index is consolidating still and hasn't actually broken to the upside, my thoughts say it will eventually, I took profit of those 3 assets into index, and I'm hoping now, usually the longer the consolidation, the more violent and significant the subsequent move. So I'm hoping to take that extra sort of capital that we earned from those 3 assets, pile them into index, and hopefully get a breakout here, ride the upside, hopefully to the upside obviously, then rebalance back into the original assets, hopefully catching their subsequent legs as well. So this is kind of the plan if the stars align, but I'm willing to kind of react to the market. I'm not going to be stubborn. You've always got to be willing to change your plan. So that's my plan going forward for now, but we'll see what happens. Let's take a look at performance. So performance-wise, the CKI Innovation Index has been a bit of a beast, really. It started at $100, the same as the blue chip index, but we've peaked at $322. And you can see down here, which is over 3 times ROI, and we're currently sitting at $290. It's obviously really volatile. We basically had a bit of we had this little pump, massive dump, almost down to the inception price, and then we just went vertically up. And this is because, I've told you guys before, the innovation index is more small cap projects, especially in comparison to the blue chip index. So that makes it much more volatile. In addition to the fact that, these are not diversified portfolios. These are really high conviction bets in the space. I'm trying to position myself for the highest upside. I'm not trying to create some diversified 20 asset portfolio. I feel like if you're trying to grow wealth, you should have conviction in the assets. And allocate kind of big into those. And then when you actually have like a significant portfolio, you're more likely to diversify and try to preserve that wealth and expose less risk to particular assets. And that totally makes sense. So the innovation index is basically highly concentrated bets on lower market cap projects, can have insane swings, but you really want the upside of that. If you're right about an asset, let's say maybe the index cooperative or combo or rook, hell yeah, you wanna ride the upside. You wanna, if that becomes the next big thing, you wanna get that 10-20 times. You don't want it to only be 5% of your portfolio that you get that increase on, because that's just not going to have a huge impact on the bigger scheme of things. Yeah, the CKI is highly concentrated allocations into high conviction bets basically. And the blue chip index also follows that same thesis. Yeah, actively managed portfolios, trying to get the highest upside and best setups here. Not too worried about diversifying across dozens of assets and trying to hope one of them does well at with a 5% allocation. Kind of not interested in that. So that's the performance of the innovation index. Really happy with it so far. The same questions get asked about the innovation index as the blue chip index. What would be my targets for this sort of portfolio? And you probably wouldn't believe me if I actually told you. If we're at $300 now, with low market cap projects, if index, maybe rook, and whatever else is out there that I go into, around the 100 mil market cap, 50 mil, 100 mil market cap currently. If one of those really popped off, 1 billion token valuation is not unheard of by any means. That could easily happen to one of these assets, especially something like the index cooperative. And that'd be at 20 times roughly, maybe a bit less because index has pumped since the bottom, but since the inception of the index, it would probably be around the 20 times. So what's that? If you start at $100, that'd be around a $2,000 CKI Innovation Index token. Pretty mental. This graph, God knows what it will look like in a few months. Maybe we go into a bear market and it nukes straight down. Who knows? Obviously, we don't want that. But if the bull market does continue, Bitcoin, Ethereum reach all-time highs. Yeah, this can get crazy really fast. When volume returns to these small caps, it does not take a lot of money, it does not take a lot of capital to push these things up. And when they run, they really, really run. It's like, daily candles of 20% plus. So the portfolio can increase really fast, and you want to be positioned before that happens, because it does not feel good to be buying into an asset that is already gone up 500%. Even if you think it's going to go, even if or you have an idea that it's going to go up even more after that, it just doesn't feel good when you look at the chart to be investing on a vertical chart. Essentially, if it's just gone vertically up for like a few weeks, even if it's got more upside in there, it just does not feel good to invest in it. So you really want to be positioning yourself before that happens, trying to find the assets that capital is going to go into and is going to be the next thing. Cool, so that's the innovation index. Let's take a look at the charts now. Okay, so we're going to whiz through some charts. Bitcoin right now is looking good. We had this massive sort of consolidation after the breakdown from all-time highs. Went up for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks or so. Kind of a huge rally, loads of shorts got squeezed. And now we're sitting at this higher time frame resistance, and this is the whole market is basically following suit here. You know, Bitcoin reached this higher time frame resistance area. This is a really badly drawn line, but you get the idea. And we're just consolidating around it. My feeling is we're rolling over a bit, and there's going to be tons of bears that show face and say, oh look, it's a lower high, complacency shoulder, boom, straight down to whatever crazy figure, 20k or something. I'm not in that camp. I mean, it's always possible, you can't rule anything out like that. Without saying the classic trap of this time's different, it does feel like this time might be a little bit different, right? It's a terrible thing to say, but you know, the market remains so bullish. You know, the amount of money pouring in, NFTs have gone absolutely nuts right now, and there's still so much sort of VC money coming in, so much teams raising, and the teams have huge runways now to build, and they're not slowing down. It's not like the bear market where there was just kind of no money in the space anymore. Everything got liquidated, and that money kind of left the crypto space, actually left. While now we're just seeing sort of rotations to stable coins or Bitcoin or Ethereum, and people just kind of playing these sector games between sort of NFTs, DeFi, just shitcoins in general. And yeah, it does feel like this time is a bit different. And you know, when people say that, it's usually a massive top signal when say this time's different, and then the market just nukes down 70%. But yeah, let's see how it goes. We're currently above the yearly VWAP line, which is a good sign. And the trend indicators are bullish. You know, this trend indicators are created. When it shows blue, signals a bullish trend. And it's green all the way from the daily, 2-day, 3-day, weekly. It's looking good. Like, yeah, we've hit this major resistance, but you can see we're kind of rolling over here. Fair enough, right? That's fine. It's not like we got rejected and then nuked down, you know, and it's just been horrible. Maybe it still does that, but what I'd like to see with this kind of slow, controlled distribution up here, I think a lot of people have eyes on, you know, it's kind of crazy to talk about this stuff right now. All sounds like a massive top signal to talk about targets past all-time high, but especially when we're on this current lower high. But you know, a lot of people are eyeing, you know, this sort of 140 to 180 target around this area here for Bitcoin if we did continue all the way up into 2022. Now, that looks insane, but there's a lot of people have done a bunch of sort of macro technical analysis, data science, and also just fundamentals as well. Could happen, and that'd be crazy. And you know, if that happened, it would kind of be more similar to what we had in 2015. Was it 2015? 2013, where we had this sort of pump, big drop, and then continuation. As opposed to 2017, which was kind of just up only. This would be more similar to 2013 even, 2013-14. If that happened, that'd be incredibly good for portfolios. Is it too easy? Is it too many people expecting that? But I don't know, there's a lot of bears as well. Maybe we just consolidate and create some horrific price structure for a while. All the way into 2022. Maybe we just go sideways. Maybe it's a crab market. Fake out, break down, everyone panics and go up. Or maybe we just break up to retest and go up. Who knows? You know, this could be boring for the majors, could be boring for Bitcoin and Ethereum. But if we do end up doing some huge consolidation like this, I believe altcoins will have a lot of money rotating into them. People get bored, people want to make money, people want their capital to be put to use. And usually when Bitcoin and the majors are doing nothing, people will find other means of using their capital, right? And that's how you get the fabled alt season. Maybe we see that. And you know, all we can do is wait, really. We can speculate, and yeah, we're at a good point now where we want to see either a break up to the upside, which would be, in my opinion, pretty crazy, or a dip now, which in my opinion is what we'd want for a bigger breakout down the line. But it's just a matter of how far we dip, really. You know, I'd be looking for, do I have a better chart for this now? Yeah, around here, this is our fib chart, support resistance lines, and then the Fibonacci retracement tool from the top to bottom. Mega bullish, to say mega bullish right now and then maybe see a break up later this year, it's all-time high. I'd like to see a dip to no lower than around 43k. You know, something like this, a little bleed, and then up, break up, all-time highs by the end of the year. That kind of be the pattern I'm looking for. But what I'd like to see for an even, maybe a longer term, quote unquote, super cycle, and dare I say that, is a larger consolidation, maybe down to, you know, 37k-ish, and then creating this big price structure here. Who knows? We could even go lower, to be honest. Maybe 30k. Just remaining within this structure here, this sort of pennant. And I think that would let us break out to, you know, infinity, basically. But, you know, let's see, I'm always really skeptical of making these crazy targets and just drawing squigglies up to 180,000 Bitcoin. But, you know, someone did it down here. You know, someone did it down here in this consolidation zone. They made some TR charts with a big line going up to 60k, and it did it. So, can never rule out anything in crypto for sure. So let's wait and see there. That's Bitcoin. Ethereum, I generally think it's, you know, it had a larger pump. But the reason why I don't chart Ethereum as much is I think it follows Bitcoin 99% of the time. It just pumps harder. And currently Ethereum is more bullish than Bitcoin, I believe. If you look at the ETH BTC chart, you can see Ethereum versus Bitcoin was consolidating for, you know, years. Broke out, we've got this big sort of bull flag, pennant, whatever you want to call it. And I feel like we'll go higher. So, but ultimately it's going to follow BTC. I think it's just going to pump harder. You know, whatever BTC does here, Ethereum, it's bullish against Bitcoin now, and so its subsequent moves will be harder. Maybe it's 10k, whatever. But yeah, more bullish on Ethereum actually than Bitcoin right now, for sure. But I think it's going to follow Bitcoin's trajectory, if that makes sense. Now let's just whiz through the actual portfolio assets. Compound, I thought it looks really good. It had this kind of price structure here where sometimes you'd see this breakout above the neckline. That's kind of Adam and Eve structure. And my targets would have been probably nearer to all-time high, around 750. That didn't play out, but I think the fundamentals of Compound are insane. You know, the amount of value it has locked in the protocol, and just generally the news and what it's putting out, the product updates, and what's to come. I think it's a seriously bullish asset, and I don't think it's priced in. You know, my target for Compound would probably be in the more midterm by the end of the year, if we had kind of another rally, is 1,300-ish, you know, up there. And that is, from here at least, 220% up. That'd be, obviously it's not going to follow that line, that trajectory. I'd like to see it do a bit more of a staircase up or whatever, or maybe a bit more violent, who knows. But that'd be my target for Compound. But yeah, TLDR, we're just sitting in this sort of higher time frame resistance. It all coincides with what Bitcoin's done as well. Bitcoin hit higher time resistance, Compound, Ethereum, everything has hit its higher time resistance, and now we're reconsolidating. And the big bet is, you know, do we break up or down from here? And I would like it to break up, funnily enough. Alpha, look at that, yearly VWAP. We have just slammed into it. Everything, and this is why, you know, you can chart all these things pretty much at the same time. We've hit high time frame resistance at the same time as sort of Bitcoin and stuff. It's just the moves here are much more significant, right? From bottom to top, Alpha has gone up 3 times, which is insane, right? Much higher than what Bitcoin has achieved in a similar time. But then it's worth mentioning Alpha Finance also dumped 87% since the top. So dumps harder, pumps harder. Ren, this is what we actually traded into from Yuan Finance in the blue chip index. Performed really well since the bottom, 155% or something. Again, just sitting under this kind of high time resistance here. We'll see what happens. Like I said, I wanted Bitcoin to sort of retrace just a little bit and form a bigger sort of retracement structure. And that would kind of be replicated on charts like this. I'd like it to retrace, form this big sort of, I mean, that could be classed as a cup and handle, break up. We'll see what happens, really. You know, that's the plan. I do see, you know, if Bitcoin retraced a little bit, I would see, you know, the portfolio taking a hit short term across the board, but only to lead to a more significant breakout down the line. Sushi has a bit more of a different price structure to a lot of assets, a bit more unique, this one. We're kind of forming a bit of a descending, broadening wedge, which is bullish. You know, these things are theoretically meant to break to the upside, and look something like this, and kind of have a bit of a inverse head and shoulders in there as well. And I do believe, I'm really bullish on Sushi. I think the fundamentals are great. It's probably the best DAO in the space right now, in my opinion, or the most, at least in terms of development and productivity. Pretty phenomenal team. So very bullish on them. Again, still higher time frame resistance. It's not escaping that, but I do like the long-term outlook on Sushi for sure, from a price structure point of view. Nexus Mutual, we're kind of in this sludge right here, but insurance I think is going to be an absolutely enormous sector in DeFi, in the crypto space, with all these smart contract hacks, capital protection. I think insurance is going to be an enormous product with a lot of value capture, very strong product market fit, and Nexus Mutual is kind of poised to be the largest vendor of that, and hopefully be able to take advantage of that the most, and we should see that reflected in its prices. So yeah, let's wait and see. Again, big consolidation structure, hoping to break up. Again, market dependent on all the majors. CKI index, giga bullish on. I think we've been consolidating for forever on index, just this whole region down here. Massive consolidation. My targets for index are pretty much way up here in the $270 mark. So yeah, take from that what you will. So yeah, giga bullish. I want to see pretty much up only here if we break to the upside, which I hope we do, because we're currently 100% allocated into the CKI. So let's wait and see. Very bullish fundamental catalysts as well. Loads of new products, new indices coming out, and they're working with some amazing teams in the space actually. So we'll wait and see there. Assets I'm watching again, like I said, Rook, staple in the innovation index. It's not in there right now because it pumped very hard and I rebalanced out of it, but I want to get back into it at some point. The chart is starting to look pretty damn good. We had this pump, retracement, found the bottom, and I want to take advantage of what's to come here. But I'm playing a bit of a game here in the CKI, trying to chase whatever is more likely to break out sooner. And I think Rook might consolidate a little bit more, who knows, while index has been consolidating longer. I want it to break out sooner. MVI, the NFT space is doing insane. Might have to do another video just on that specifically, but incredibly bullish on NFTs. Not allocated right now, and actually this was a bad move. I sold out of MVI around here, around the all-time high. And I was kind of playing a bit of a game here as well. I wanted to see a retracement in MVI to then get back in. I thought NFTs were quite heated, but they've just gone up only. NFTs are ridiculous right now. In fact, the amount of money some of these are selling for. I mean, top signals are in, to be honest, but I don't know if it'll matter. You know, an invisible image of a rock, and I'm talking about just an image of nothing, sold for thousands and thousands of dollars. So yeah, that's not a great look. You know, in contrast, there are some amazing artists in the NFT space right now, and there's a lot of great products, but we're starting to see the frothiness, the top signals, just absolute dog shit being sold for thousands of dollars right now. I want to see a retracement across the board in NFTs, and then I want to go in hard. So waiting for that. I don't really want to invest in now, but we'll see what happens. Combo, very bullish. As you can see, pumped really hard here. Rebalanced into index, which is still in consolidation, as I mentioned. And now I want to see this cool off, and I want index to break out, and then I want to get back into it. That's the plan. NFTX, same reasons as MVI. It's on my watch list. I still want to see a bigger retracement across NFTs before I dive back in. Bank, this was in the CKI. Very tempted to get back into it, to be honest. I wanted to see it consolidate a bit longer, but it's looking pumpy, and I think it might outperform index short term. So this I might jump back into. This is the Bankless DAO, for those that don't know. Look it up. Very vibrant, very cool community. I might get back into it. And then Curve is also on my watch list. This is for the blue chip index. Curve just looks really good in my opinion. Another thing that's been consolidating for a long time. Fantastic product market fit, has so much value captured in its protocol that I don't believe is priced in my opinion. These long consolidations lead to the most violent upsides, and I could see a good at least 5 times on Curve. I know that sounds crazy, but $10 I think is programmed for this thing. For a blue chip, 5 times, I'll take it any day. And that's it, that's what I'm looking for right now. Things to watch, Bitcoin, what are we doing here? Where do we go? I want to see this either here or down here, but forming this big price structure of consolidation for a big violent move much later in the year, going into 2022. So that's charts done. Worth mentioning, obviously it's been a while. If you want to learn more about the portfolios in general, just go to cryptokidojo.com/portfolios. Learn about them. All the relevant links are here, including links to the YouTube. Thoughts about the investment thesis behind it, how to invest in it even from a complete newcomer, how you can actually go from sort of bank account to new Coinbase account to new Ethereum MetaMask wallet, how you can connect to token sets, and how you can actually buy into CKI and CKB. Even as a beginner, I did this as a written article here. It goes to Medium, so you can just do it in your own time. You don't have to watch a video. And then the actual construction, so I've got details down here on the inclusion criteria, what sort of assets to go into the CKI and CKB, and some rules that I sort of abide by, so I avoid projects with sort of horrific tokenomics, sort of Ponzi-ish in nature, really illiquid projects. You know, I won't touch any of that stuff, and I generally stick to this, so there's some predictability and people knowing what I'm going to invest in. But yeah, take a look at this. Join the Discord and come chat with us. Love to hear your thoughts on all of this. See if you're invested, see what projects you're looking at. Have you dived into NFTs? Come let us know. And of course, like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel, really helps me. I'll try not leave it as long this time. I really want to try to get into a sort of once a week cadence for these sort of episodes, maybe once every 2 weeks if the market's not doing much. I was just moving house, so things were seriously busy. But yeah, I want to try and mix up the content in terms of videos, also written articles, because I know some people just enjoy reading an update on the portfolios. So yeah, thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.